This isn't a video I planned on making, but with IWC's recent release of the Ingenieur in a stunning new blue colorway, I can no longer hold back what I've been wanting to say about this watch all along. Let me start by saying this. I love IWC. I'm not just a casual fan, I'm a proud owner of two of their watches. The Pilot Chronograph and Portugueser are staples in my collection, and I can't fault the design, quality, or craftsmanship of either. IWC is a brand that pays incredible attention to detail, and their finishing is second to none. So when I say what I'm about to say, know that it comes from a place of love for the brand. The IWC Ingenieur is flawed. It's a watch that's hard to justify, and here's why. First, let's talk about the positives. The Ingenieur has a rich heritage, with roots dating back to 1955, when the first Ingenieur, the reference 666, was introduced. It was later redesigned by the legendary Gerald Genta in the 1970s. It was a bold, sporty, and a technically impressive watch for its time. Now reborn, this new Ingenieur is undeniably well made. The finishing is impeccable, as you'd expect from IWC. The dial is clean, different, and I love how the checkered texture plays with the light. The case is sleek, and the bracelet is comfortable. It's a very good looking watch too. You can't fault its design or quality. But here's the thing. Being well made is almost enough when you're asking $12,000 for a watch, but not quite. At this price point, every component has to be special. The design is clean and the watch has personality, but is it worthy of owning? Will it be a time-tested classic as the iconic original? The two main issues I have with this watch ultimately boil down to one core problem: the movement and its relationship to the price. In fact, they're so interconnected that it's almost impossible to discuss one without addressing the other. Let me break it down. The Ingenieur is powered by the IWC caliber 32111, the same movement found in their Mark series collection. It's a high-quality, robust, and reliable movement, featuring a 4 Hz beat rate and an impressive 120 hours power reserve. The biggest challenge is trying to ignore the fact that the same caliber movement is used in models like the Mark 20, which with a bracelet is 50% less expensive at MSRP. Paying a small premium for the Ingenieur is fine, but double is completely unjustified. Sure, the Ingenieur has a more complex case and bracelet, and subjectively a nicer dial. But does that really justify doubling the price? For me, it doesn't. Now I know many brands do this, fitting different watch lines with the same caliber. Take Rolex for example. They have the same movement in the Explorer as they do in the Submariner no date. And there is a difference in price between the two. But what's different between Rolex and IWC is that the difference in price is nowhere near as egregious. When you look at the robust lineup of movements IWC manufactures in-house, the 32000 series caliber becomes basic. Many of you might ask, why didn't IWC use the 82100 movement instead? The answer is simple. The 82100 is a 3-hand movement designed for the Big Pilot 43, and it won't fit in a case like the Ingenieur's. The 32111 is the only 3-hand movement IWC currently has that fits the 40mm case size. And that's the problem. It feels like IWC didn't fully think this through. Rather than designing a new caliber or adapting the 82000 family movement into a 3-hand design, IWC opted to use the 32111, a decision that strips the Ingenieur of the exclusivity it truly deserves. It feels as though IWC is attempting to leverage the Genta legacy without putting in the necessary effort to make this watch something genuinely exceptional. Take this Portugueser 40 small seconds for example. It's powered by the 82200 movement, which you can also admire through the open case back. At $9,000 retail, this watch is $3,000 less than the Ingenieur. Now some might argue that the Ingenieur is the better looking watch, and that may be true, but consider this. How can a timepiece from the same brand with the same level of attention to detail and finishing, an equally impressive history, and a superior movement that's visible through the display case back, cost $3,000 less than the Ingenieur at retail? It's genuinely baffling and raises serious questions about how IWC handles its pricing strategy. The other issue with the Ingenieur's price is the fierce competition it faces from other luxury watch brands. At this price point, you're stepping into the territory of iconic watches like the Chopard Alpine Eagle, Gerard Perregaux Laureato, Cartier Santos, and even the Rolex Submariner. These are not just watches, they're benchmarks of design, heritage, and craftsmanship. While the International Watch Company is clearly aiming high with the Ingenieur, the question remains, will the market embrace it at this level? One simply cannot think of buying the Ingenieur without considering those aforementioned options. I'm sure many of you are tired of hearing about the price of this watch, not just from me, but from fellow YouTubers and watch enthusiasts as well. Some might argue that horology is an art form, not just a list of specs on paper. You buy a watch for the way it makes you feel, and the price shouldn't matter. While that's a valid perspective, the reality is that price is an intrinsic and essential part of the shopping experience. It simply cannot be ignored, Gerald Genta design or not. And for watch geeks like me, the movement is what truly makes or breaks a watch. It's the heart of the timepiece, and its quality and execution are non-negotiable. The Ingenieur is a stunning watch, and I would love to own one. But I can't bring myself to buy one. I can't. I'd feel like I've been cheated. Knowing that the Mark 20 is available at 6K, and knowing the same caliber of movement is in watches like the Baume & Mercier Riviera, I believe this watch is worth $9,000, new at most. Check out Chrono 24 and you'll see them trading for $9,000 up to $10,000 for used and new examples. And I suspect prices will continue to drop over the course of the year, eventually settling around $8,000 at the low end. But if this watch checks all the right boxes for you, then by all means, go for it. It's an exceptional timepiece, and I wouldn't fault anyone for choosing to own one. My role here is to provide you with the information and not to make the decision for you. And if after watching this video you're still on the fence, I'd encourage you to visit your local authorized dealer and try it on for yourself. As I've said, it's a remarkable watch, a watch that makes sense, and one that might just win you over in person. Let's be clear, IWC creates incredible timepieces. The fact that I own 2 watches from this brand is a testament to how much I genuinely believe in their quality. Their designs are exceptional, their craftsmanship is top tier, and their heritage is undeniable. Recent innovations like the Eternal Calendar further highlights the brand's commitment to pushing the boundaries of horology. This is a brand that consistently strives for excellence and achieves remarkable feats in watchmaking. Which side of the aisle are you on? Do you believe that the watch is correctly priced by IWC, considering its heritage, the Genta touch, and its connection to iconic designs like the Nautilus and Royal Oak, which command significantly higher prices? Or do you feel it's overpriced compared to other steel watches in IWC's lineup and based on the movement inside? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to leave a like or dislike based on how you felt about this video. I wish you the best in your watch collecting journey, and I'll see you in the next one.